Hello everyone. So I thought I would show you guys what I've an approach I've been doing for images that have, I guess, you highlight or exposure a little bit more than normal, because I kept seeing this a lot, and it really kind of bothers me, to be honest. Not a lot, but it's just annoying to see, like, why this image of, like, you know whatever your subject is, it's like, overexposed sometimes. In this case, it's this image I'm gonna use as an example here. And I tried doing shadows and highlights. I did it on the overall image, but it felt like it still needed, I still had to go back and do some little minor fine tuning. Well, some more, not minor, but some more tuning into it, and it just felt like it took too long to do it. So I went and try and figured out a different way to approach it. And I wanted to see details, like, I was curious. I want to know what's in this area, and any area that's not, overexposed or blown out. And I got playing around, and it took me like about a few days to figure out the way to approach it in a simpler, I guess, way, so that I'm not spending way too much time with the Wacom tablet, with the tablet, and whatnot. So I wanted to do it in a way where I would use the actual photo itself, kind of like advanced masking. When you do advanced masking, you're really using the photo itself to do most of your work, instead of you going in there and manually painting everything, you know. And so that's the approach I wanted to go with tackling highlights. Um, and I've already done this, but I kind of want to run through it real quick, and then I have an image that I found online that I don't know yet. I haven't tested it on, but I want to try it on while I do this recording to see how it works. So if I turn this folder on, see, this is the end result. It gives me details. And there, this thing only highlights pretty much. This whole thing is about just tackling with the highlights and how to get details and all that. And eventually, I'm pretty sure all of this, it will be tweaked minor to everyone's preference, so it's subjective to the person doing the editing, or the your boss, or whoever's paying you to do it. So I have two folders here because I did two passes. Normally I just did one, but I'm still playing with this, and this is the second pass. So it's right there, it's enabled, off, on, off, on. So you can see the first pass brought me, which is group one right here, brought me details here. It's nice. I like it. I did a second pass using the same similar method, just with a little bit more extreme, and it brought me these details back in there. So it's really interesting because you can see details. And I know some areas of the images in the background you can see pixelation. I'm not a photographer. I just took this off of Google search. And but let me go ahead and go through the layers and just kind of explain the process of how I did it. So the first step is to duplicate the original image, and then I put it in a folder by itself. In this case, group one. I have it once I duplicated it. I went into the channels, and I tackled each channel individually with shadows and highlight. So I went in here, I went adjustment, shadow and highlights, and then I put everything on shadow to 0 because I'm not dealing with that, and then I tackle highlights. So, I did highlights for this. So if we look at the highlights for these and just try to remember it, you'll see there's details that are showing up from the highlights. So tackling it, we're getting details. So if we go back to our original, let me disable this, and we go to our original, and see, it's pretty bland and details aren't there. It's just kind of like blown out, overexposed, or whatever you want to. It's overexposed a little bit. So now we go back to this one, turn it back on, and you see, I can see the little skin on the skin. I see like the little different colors, different values. So those are the details that were not being shown because it was blown out. So eventually you do them on each channel, blue, green, and red, and eventually you'll end up with something like this. I had to switch the mode for luminosity. You'll end up with something like this. And honestly, I was like, wow. When I first went through this process, I was like, wow, that sucks. I was like, I got all the details I wanted, but now I have all this extra color that I didn't ask for. And obviously all this color is through the end results of going through each channel individually. But I remember luminosity on the blend mode. Luminosity handles it. It deals with luminosity values. So if I put it there, I'm not dealing with that color anymore, and I get my results. The only thing afterwards that I noticed when I did this was that sometimes there'll be a few things with your colors, like it's just minor, like whenever you get an edge with a different color and it shows up there kind of strong. So what I ended up doing was I duplicated, no, I'm not duplicated. I pressed Control Alt Shift E, or some people call it the claw, and it created a new layer. So like that. And so I created the new layer here, and I inverted the image. Once the image is inverted, I selected all, copy, because I'm gonna use a layer mask, which is the end result is layer 2 right here, but I'm just gonna going through it. So I place the layer mask, I press the down alt and click here, and then I Control Shift V to paste in place, and that's the layer mask. The whole purpose of this, it's going to be so that I'm only tackling the areas that have these little color fragments that are above, that are shown a little bit in excess too much. It's kind of like a color corrector to like just, if I have, too much white and you invert it, then I have black, and then you can kind of tweak it to balance it out to where you want enough white or black to show. You get me? So that's the whole purpose of this one, but you have to change it to color mode, and then you'll get this result from the blue and whatnot. And then from here you just have to lower your value on the opacity, so that's, you're balancing it out right there. Sometimes it might affect other colors and whatnot, and I'll show you in a second how to deal with that. So normally I've come to realize after testing for a few days that the value for the images that I've been testing it on have been anywhere from 8% to 20. I usually don't try and go above 20 because then it starts affecting it. So if I go to this, I select 2 and then I switch it to 20%. You can see right here, it's 20%. Alright, and then we toggle it on and off. You see, like for example on the hair, and I'm gonna just point it out here, in the hair, you know, it's a little bit too saturated red. I know it's brown, I know what brown is supposed to look like, but I may not be seeing other colors. I may not be noticing other colors that are out there that are popping a little bit in excess. So this will be a good way to toggle them. And so if 20 is too much, I could bring it down to 13 maybe. Let's see, because I've also kind of noticed 13 is like the common one that I go to. But it's really anywhere from 8 to 20 or 5, 5%. It's up to you. It's subjective. And so I notice when I do that, let's say I wanted this. I took the red out of the brown, and then I'm like, okay, but that affected her lip and her skin or whatever, and I need to pop that back up to a certain point. So I just put a vibrance and saturation adjustment layer, and I usually, this is all subjective from here for how much you want to do it, but for my personal taste, I use either 21 and 7, and then toggle it on and off. And you notice on the lips, I brought the colors back, more naturally. And even though we took it out on the red before with this layer 5, you can see that it's not as strong as before. Let me see. Yeah, it's not as strong as before. I would say it was kind of like the halfway point, but it brings your other colors back into it. And I've noticed with vibrance, I stick either with 2 settings. I've gone 21 and 7, and the other one is 51 and 13 for saturation. And it's just, I don't know, it's just the images I've been testing now. So if I turn these off, delete those, and then I turn back this on, you'll see it's pretty much the same result. And then what I ended up doing, like I said, I did a second pass. I originally had this vibrance tool here, okay, and I had it there. Boom, got that image, the color back in there. See, I have here 51 and 13, so it's much more, values are much more stronger for the colors are popping in. And then I did a stamp. I did the claw again. I did Control Alt Shift and E, and that brought me to this image right here. So if we turn this on, because basically what I want to do is continue working on the values that I already have. I already have these values. So, and then I put this back to normal mode, and I did the exact same thing. I went into the channel and I toggled highlights only through shadows and highlights on each of the channels. And this time I went a little bit more extreme because I wanted to get the ones that in this folder that were missing, like this area right here, this area right here. I'm still playing with this somewhere around the neck. So I turn it on and see it brought those. Same thing, I have to change into luminosity. So as you can see, off, on, and on, and it gives me a really beautiful result. Look at that. And I've toned this down to 30%. I didn't want to keep it at 100 to see how it will look. So it's subjective to whatever. This is 15. Some people might like it there. but I put it at 30. I'll just leave it 31 for now. And then I did the same thing with the colors. You know, tone it down a bit, just in case anything's popping out of place. It's a little bit too much. And then I brought the vibrance back up to here. And that's why I got this result. So, you know, and I put those two folders into here. Normally after this step, I would just go ahead and do the sharpening. And I will use the claw again. I will do the claw here, create a new step, convert this to smart object, then go to filter, let's see, sharpen, unsharp mask, and I use 101 pixel. I put amount 100% and the radius as 1 pixel. I hit OK, and that looks decent, that looks okay, but I'll still, I don't know, I got into the habit of doing a duplicate of that layer, then rasterizing that layer, then changing it to soft light or overlay. Lately it's been soft light, and then I'll go ahead and do the other and do the high pass at 1.5 pixels, and it just sharpens it much more nicely. Put these two into a folder, and then from here, you know, if you think it's too sharp, I'll lower the opacity on the folder like down to 80 or 75%, just to maintain most of the sharpness, but reduce like maybe whatever's on the very edge. And we get really nice, beautiful results. Look at that. It's nice. And then, of course, I would turn this off and on because you need to see the results. See, very nice. I mean, we can do before and after percent with 200. Click on, move this one over to that side, and then okay, so let me zoom out a bit, and then yeah, see, turn this off, not off, but just look at that. So you can see the shadows and highlights have been tackled. I mean, highlights only, because like I said, this is mostly like a different approach of me going into highlights. And it keeps it nice and natural, beautiful. You still get your skin color. There's been, I think, only one image out of like maybe, I tested around like 50 to 50 images, up to 50 images, and only one I had to actually go in, not like paintbrush, but like I had to use selective, this tool, the selective color, and like tweak it just a little bit, because for some reason but I honestly believe that was a low quality image, and just, you know, the way it was done. And I tested this this highlight thing on various quality of images, but it's always way better to work on the higher res image than it is on the lower end, because you simply won't have this pixelation, like for example here in the background. And like I said, this is just to like I'll be honest, I'm just not trying to paint anything. This is all strictly layers and using the information on the actual image that I was given, well, that I was testing it on. Let me just go back and take all of this. Okay. Okay, that's 100%. Yeah, the second pass was really for the dress, but as you can see, the quality of the images is not the best. So, but this is more about, I was originally only using it and testing it out for skin, like people. And so if we toggle, you know, this is a stamp, I could get rid of it. So we toggle the folder on and off. You see it? Another great thing too is once you have it on this folder, I've noticed you can lower it, the whole overall process, to like maybe 60%, or put 75 on it, and you're still showing 25% of the original content, and it makes it just like, I don't know how to describe it. It just adds to it. It just makes it beautiful without showing you the entire edited process. You get me? It brings some of the original stuff back in there, and it looks more natural. Look at that. And that's the whole purpose why I wanted to learn how to tackle highlights, because I was like, where's the detail in this stuff? It wasn't there, and now it's there. You see, you get nice, beautiful detail. Here's another subject I tested it on. Same things. This top one right here was for shadows, but shadows, I'm not. When I get to a point where I'm more satisfied on the process of how I reach shadows on most pictures, then I'll make another video for that. But this is just for highlights, so you can see, toggle it off, on, and look at her skin. Like, details are gone, mostly here. You know, I mean, not gonna lie, not the best picture to begin with as far as shadows and highlights go on it. But see, I'm dealing with highlights and I'm trying to look at that. That's just really nice, man. And so this is the other image I found just searching online, and you know, this person, nice, but I mean, it feels like it's, I don't know if it's blown out here or if it's just like airbrushed or something, but like details, man. Where are details? Could be a webcam picture, not sure, but test it out. So let's see. I will zoom in a little bit more, and so now we can focus on, like, then I'll show you the entire process. So like, I'll duplicate it, put it in a folder. So this is the first step. Then select that image, go into channels, go into the blue channel, image adjustments, shadows and highlights, put this at 0. Like I said, I'm not dealing with shadows. This is just for highlights. Put the radius at 1, because you only want to do 1 pixel radius. And I usually start off at 10% on the tone, or anywhere from 10 to 20, and then amount, just start bringing it up, and just slide this up to a point where you can start seeing details, but you're not getting these. Like, see, I could tell this image is not that of the best quality, kind of like very pixelated, low end, I guess. And then just try and bring details, and if you have to mess with the midtones, you know, I mean, you can always move it up, just check, or move it down, you know, up to you. But the point of tackling each channel, I'll leave it at 0 for now, is to like be able to start seeing details on what you're working on. So I like it about, I'm okay with that. So off, on, and you can see we're starting to get better details, and yeah, we're getting a little bit of the pixel edges. And then go to the green ones, adjustments, put 0, 0, 0. We're not dealing with that. I'm gonna put 13 to start off, and 1, and let's see, it's not, oh yeah, this is way better. and just try and see how much naturally you can bring in before on the first pass. And try my tones. Nope. Kind of like that right there at negative, and hit OK and move on to the red one. Eventually, I started messing around with some presets settings, because you can save them. So I got one or two that I have in there that seem to be good starting points off. So I mean, you'll eventually get to the point where you do it yourself if if you're interested, and then save them, and then take that with you, and then so I'm just sliding these. What I'm looking for is like making sure this edge is not too strong. There's sometimes you can tell like you're bringing in other details, but the edge might be way too strong, and you don't want that, because when we change it to luminosity, that edge will show up. So just kind of like I'm trying to keep it nice and smooth, blended, and I'm gonna see. Yeah, see, like for example, details on the teeth. Look at that, in the red channel. You can actually see now different details in there, and parts of the lip. Hit OK. Now we go back to RGB. You can see, obviously, like I was mentioning earlier, when you do that, you're affecting all the colors in there. So just change it to luminosity, and then you can turn it off and on. Look at that. Look, just look at it. You can even tell on like her clothing, it brought some of the details back in. The rest of the room kind of, it's more, it's all subjective. It's just me. I'm just trying to get details back. Like I said, I started only mostly because I wanted to see details in people's skin and all that. And then once we do that, like I said, I do the claw, get a new layer, invert it, select all, copy. You can see it selected all because of the marching ants. Copy it, and create a new adjustment layer. I mean a mask. I don't usually press Alt and left click. I just press the backslash key, and you can see it's back. You'll know it's the backslash key because your arrows here to view a layer will go. You won't be able to uncheck them off when you click on them. It'll take you back to the normal mode. So once it's in that mode, Control Shift V to paste in place. You'll get your red. Deselect all, and then Control 2. Oh, bring it here. Yeah. Oh, take the mask off. Yeah. So press backslash again, and you see you can see where the colors are how the color of the skin is affected here. This is like an early preview sign. And then switch this to color, and you'll see it's kind of like that blue greenish tint. See how you can see it on the ear right there, and some other areas like in the shadowy area. So we want to lower that to like maybe, let's see, 13, 20, 13, 20. I'm going to, and I'm looking at the lip right here, that saturation on the lip when you do it. See, if I do 20, that's at 20. It's a little bit desaturated. I do it at 13. There's a little bit more color to it. So I'll leave it at 13%, and then if it needs it, if the image needs like a color boost, then I'll use the vibrance. Most of the time it really doesn't, but you know, you never know. Just toggle it on and off. The colors are almost in the same range than when you started. From, I mean, you know, from the original image, they're almost in the same range. I mean, you know, it wouldn't hurt, I guess, to do this. I mean, sorry, 21 and 7. 7. So that just adds a little boost to like the skin and everything. See, this skin is a little bit more poppy, so that's nice. From here we can just, I mean, if you wanted to give it another pass, you would do the same step again and then try to go for extreme. But as you can tell, there's really no extreme shadow left. I mean, highlight, like over here where we, after the first pass, I'm sorry, like see, like here, like after the first pass you still had some spots there, so that was the purpose of the second pass on that one. But here you don't have that, so I'll just make this into a the sharpen. I have keyboard shortcut, so I just already converted it to a smart object or smart filter, whatever works for you. On sharp mask, amount 100, pixel 1 for, I mean, radius, and then duplicate it. Like I said, I don't know why I duplicate it and do this other part. It's just habit now. It works for me. I mean, you guys can find out what best works for you. 1.5. So nice. And then pretty much after here, I might want to put it at 80. Don't want it too much. And then put these two into a folder and maybe lower that 75 or 80%. It's just, you know, on and off. That's it. Look at her lips. It has a little nice sharpness to it. The details are there. The skin here in this area. I mean, you're getting details from whatever the picture was. And you're not, like, I did not use my Wacom tablet at all. This is all on the mouse, you know. So like that. The dress is, wow. I mean, you could probably go for a second pass on for the whatever she got on. But look at the, yeah, like as far as the background goes, it has some highlights and like kind of got affected. Like whatever we did on the face for the highlights also worked for the background, but it did not affect it as much. You can kind of tell from here in the mirror. Look at the result of the highlight here. Look at it, toned it down like a lot, only leaving like, I guess, the areas that were more highlighted. That could, you know, that pretty much it. And then look at the bed sheets. The bed is white. You can't really see much detail on the white. Boom, you can see kind of more wrinkles. It's more. And pretty much it. That's pretty much what I wanted to talk about on this way to approach highlights. I know it's probably something that everyone's gonna be like, oh wow, this guy, blah blah blah, you know. But I mean, I just thought I'd share it for anyone who doesn't know about it. And hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks.